Oh hi, you know we've all been there. We have our William Shatner mask, we've painted it all white, and we go on a murder spree of 20-somethings who are pretending to be teenagers. No, that is just me. Well, I think you're the weird one. Halloween, the holiday, started off as a bunch of drunk Irishmen trying to make turnips look scary. It's evolved now into a holiday where a bunch of drunk people try and make the world less scary. Horror films have tried to capitalize on this for many years, The Ring and the Paranormal Activity films, just to name a few. But in 1978, director John Carpenter decided to use the holiday to create what I consider to be one of the best films of all time. Now, it could just be the music, which still creeps me the F out. But it's beyond the scares that it provides. It's accused sometimes of jump-starting the slasher genre, which honestly I have a hard time arguing with. It certainly has a bunch of tropes that we've come to expect. The camera being used as the point of view of the killer, the murder count rising, and of course, a bunch of jump scares. Boo! But here is where I think it differs. We're never meant to empathize with the killer, and we're never supposed to think that it's cool that his victim count grows. Having just recently watched the Saw franchise, that is what stood out to me the most. Jigsaw is this really smart guy and a person who the audience is supposed to be sympathetic to. We're supposed to be repulsed by his Rube Goldberg death traps, that's for sure, but we're also meant to think of how ingenious he is to come up with these plans, and we never really care about his victims. In Halloween, however, we have Laurie Strode, who's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, and she is this unassuming American teenager. We might even call her bland. She's just someone who wants to try and do her homework, get a few extra dollars by babysitting, and watch a scary movie on TV. And then her whole world is shattered. We know that evil exists across that street, and we want her to stay in her own house, but because this is a movie, she doesn't. She enters the beast's lair, and we contort and we squirm in our seats because we're scared about the seemingly satanic presence that's behind her. So there's this one scene, and sorry, spoiler alert for a movie that's over 30 years old. And the evil Michael Myers, remember, this is before Wayne's World, he breaks through the slats of the closet. He has his knife in his hand. Cunningly, Laurie fashions a weapon out of a coat hanger and stabs it into his eye. And we as an audience cheer for that. We think that she has won. He's lying on his back. She gets out of the closet. She stops at the top of the stairs and exhales. And then silently he sits up in the background, the music starts again, and that feeling of dread fills us all over again. It's this scene that gets to the heart of the film. We think our heroine is safe, and then she isn't. We want her to conquer this awful human being. Now I could go into a big analysis of this film and say something like, it shows how the excess of secular life produces evil and only a chaste life can conquer it. But I don't think that's the interesting part of this film. Roger Ebert, in his review of this movie, wrote that it's easy to create violence on the screen, but it's hard to do it well. What we see in this movie is horrific, and it produces the exact response John Carpenter wants. But it never glorifies and it never exalts in its violence, which many of the films that followed in its footsteps never got right, including most of the sequels to this movie. To root for the killer seems much too nihilistic to me. To watch a bunch of people being killed and then to laugh and to cheer at that seems weird. Empathy is one of our greatest strengths, and to deaden that seems wrong to me. So I'll continue to cheer for Laurie Strode, be creeped out by the music, and to paint my William Shatner masks white. But more importantly, what do you think? Agree or disagree? What are your favorite scary movies to watch during this season? Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kyle. I upload videos every Monday and Thursday. If you want to see more of these types of videos, consider going and being a patron over on my Patreon page. I'm trying to think of what I want to go for as Halloween this year. I'm so white that I'm thinking either Ghost or statistically probable Trump supporter.